Hello guys, welcome back. I hope you've been safe. Here's my Covenant weapon tier list. First of all, I'd like to say that the weapons really haven't changed too much between the games, so I think it's, instead of just doing every iteration of them in each game, I'm just doing all of the weapons in general. And also, the video was like way too long. I'm sorry if some of you fell asleep. I'm still perfecting my craft. I'm also not a huge fan of the Covenant weapons, except for a select few. They just aren't as good as the human weapon, and I'm sorry if you disagree with that, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, let's get started. So we'll start with the pistols, because we gave the humans the same treatment. So we'll start with the plasma pistol. Pretty good. One of the signature Covenant weapons. Pretty much half of the enemies you're fighting are using this weapon, the grunts. It's pretty good. It's got a unique ability to charge up and take out shields. But otherwise, unless they don't have energy shields, it's really not that useful, but I'll give it an A tier. Now we'll cover the brute pistol real quick. They're honestly, they almost seem like they come from their own faction because they're so distinct. I mean, I like that they did that, obviously, because the brutes were kind of a newer addition to the Covenant later on in the series in Halo 2. And, you know, they have all these different technology, which it's a lot more gritty, grimy. So, I don't really know what this thing is called. It's the brute pistol. It gives me like a shotgun vibe, except it's not as good. So, D tier. I don't like it. Let's cover the plasma rifle, the Covenant or Elite plasma rifle. It's okay. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really like the Covenant weapons, and this one it's okay. It does that little overheating thing, which like makes sense, I guess. Most of the Covenant weapons, they like overheat or something, but I just don't like it. It doesn't do that much damage. It does shoot pretty fast, which is neat, and you can dual wield it, but I don't know. That doesn't really change it much for me. I'll give it it's a solid C. Now the brute plasma rifle shoots a little bit faster than the regular plasma rifle, I believe, but really there's not much else saving it. It's C tier for me. They're both C tier. Okay, the Covenant Carbine. That was introduced in Halo 2, I believe, when you start playing as the Arbiter. That gun is pretty neat. It's pretty cool. Gives me like, almost like a Covenant equivalent of the battle rifle, maybe. I don't know if that's a horrible take, but I like it. It does a lot of damage compared to other Covenant weapons. I'm going to place it, it's high A tier, almost S tier. Now, this is one of the weapons from the Covenant that I think everyone likes, and I like myself, the energy sword. You couldn't use it in Halo 1, but you could, in Halo 2, I believe you could start being able to use it. So far, does a lot of damage, really satisfying. I'd say this, in terms of like sci-fi energy swords, this is right behind the lightsaber. Easily. S tier. Come on. Okay, now the Needler. I'm not a big fan. I don't know if that's heresy. I just don't like it that much. It does that little thing where the spikes explode, but other than that, it's not my vibe. But I think for the sake of how much I know other people like it, and just how long it's been in the series, I think it's deserving of B tier. Maybe I just suck, and I just don't really, I don't know how to use it properly, but I just don't like it. However, the needle rifle, I believe this was introduced in Halo Reach. It's pretty neat, but it killed Cat, so C tier. Let's finish off the brute weapons real quick. Let's start with the brute shot. I believe this was the first brute weapon to be introduced with the brutes. It's pretty cool. You like bounce the grenades and shit, and you like shoot it. It's pretty cool. Doesn't do as much damage as I'd like it to, but I'll give it B tier. It's pretty good. Now the Spiker. This was Halo 3, I believe. Pretty fire, pretty dope. You can dual wield it, and it's a Spiker. Come on, that sounds dope. See, Needler, like, you know, little, I'm a Needler. Oh, look at me. Spiker like sounds way more like dope and intimidating, and I like that. So I'm gonna give it A tier. Now the Gravity Hammer. Oh man, when this gun was introduced, oh my god, so much fun, and there's so much you can do with it just in Halo. Like all the game modes that came out of it, so good. S tier. It goes along with the energy sword. It's a good, I'd say it's probably the brute equivalent to the energy sword. It's really dope. I love it. Really, really good addition to the weapons in Halo. And one of the few Covenant weapons that I really, really like. Okay, so Halo Reach introduced a lot of new Covenant weapons. And some of them just fell so flat that I'm just curious as to why they are even in the game. They're so like not memorable at all. They just are not. They just really are not good weapons. So we'll start with this fucking thing. I think it's called like a plasma repeater. D tier. It like it locks on and it does like this 3-round burst thing, and it just is. Oh, it makes me want to throw up, to be honest. It's really not good. I skipped over this one, but this is the fuel rod cannon. I'm gonna give it a B tier. It's pretty good. Okay, this is the beam rifle from Halo 2. I think it's either this. I think this is it. Pretty fire, but so aggravating. I think there's this one level from Halo 2 with all the Jackal snipers, and they can just, on heroic, you get like 1 shot or 2 shot with it. But really good gun. I love it. I'm gonna give it A tier. I'm gonna give it A tier. Now the beam rifle from Halo Reach. I wasn't a big fan at first, but I've been using it recently, and I gotta say it's pretty fun. When you're hitting your shots with it, it just shoots out a beam, so it's pretty hard to miss with it. I'll give it a high B tier for me. Now this thing, it's like a heavy grenade launcher type deal. Kind of like brute shot vibes. I'm gonna give it C tier. It's okay. Now this thing, I don't know what this thing is. I remember vaguely using it, but fuck this gun. D tier. So this is my list. This is my Covenant tier list. A little bit shorter video. I hope it's not as boring or, you know, losing your attention as the last one was. I hope you all have a really good day. I have something big coming up next, so stay tuned. It's big, and I'm really excited. But, yeah, have a good day. Yeah!